let's get straight into something that's been on my mind all day. It's been really bugging me. It's a study that I saw on. I've seen quite a lot of studies recently about managers, how managers can become better leaders, and a lot of them. There's lots of techniques, and I think yes, you can improve someone's leadership ability, but I don't think just because you can improve them a bit doesn't mean that you can make them good leaders. So, say for example, you had a football player who'd never played football before in his life, and you had 6 weeks to train him. He's going to be better than when you started, but he's not going to be a great leader. So, yes, I believe you can improve beyond from 0 to 5, but you're not going to get from 5 to 1,000. And I don't fully believe that you can. I'm happy to be proven wrong about this. I am happy to be proven wrong about this, but I don't believe you can teach someone to be a good, a great leader, to be a, obviously I was going to say a natural leader, but then natural is, it's natural. So obviously you can't teach someone to be a natural leader, and I think that's the difference. Is you can teach someone to be a great leader, but there is a capacity if they're not a natural leader. Whereas I think if you find a natural leader and you train them, then they can. There's this. The sky's the limit. There is no limit. Um, I think having having those natural traits are, as I've said previously, is things that you get as a child, things that happen throughout your childhood, and you have those natural traits that are then, for example, again, I know I keep saying it, but natural protective instinct. I believe that protective instinct is something that is huge in leaders, and I would say composure as well. Composure under stress, composure under uh, pressure. So I believe that these are things that happen to a person, and then when they are put in leadership situations, they discover that they are leaders. And there are people who I think could be great leaders that are never put in that opportunity, or that position, and then never get the opportunity to even discover that they had the potential, let alone fulfill that potential. So um, I think there's a lot of people out there who have been taught how to be better leaders than they are, but in the right scenario, someone who's had no training whatsoever can be 100 times better at leading than the person who's had 10 years training, purely because of their natural personality traits. Um, this is where again, I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I don't believe at the moment. I'm not 100% on this, but it's just a theory I've got thinking about it, that I don't believe there is such a thing as leaders within the corporate environment. And bear with me on that, because I know that's a crazy statement. I think what I would say is, okay, I'm already going to change. I'm already changing what I said. There are leaders within the corporate environment until there is something they disagree with. So I think a leader can be anyone. It doesn't even need to be the person in charge, but a natural leader, when put in a position that goes against their moral fiber, their moral compass, I think that is something that again, the great leaders who lead through the followers choosing to follow them, as opposed to, there are great leaders who were dominant bullies, and they were still great leaders in terms of the success they had. But again, that's the definition of what's a good leader, which is something else. That's a whole nother question. What is the definition? What is, how do you define success? If you have a leader who, let's just say, he sets up take a country. There's a country after, so there's a country, someone becomes president, and within a week there's a war. There's a war within that country. The country's destroyed. They lose the war, but that president was amazing. They're left alone, so they lose. They get battered. The country's destroyed. But then the invading countries say they left, so that president is then there left to pick up the pieces. So he raises everyone's taxes a little bit. Everyone's annoyed. He rebuilds the country. He rebuilds the economy, but he's doing it for growth and rebuilding of the country. Now, let's just say he achieves everything he wants to achieve, and the country goes back to being a great place to live again. And then he comes to the end of his term, and then you vote in an absolute clown who does nothing beneficial for the country apart from he lowers taxes. So everyone loves him and they're like, oh, he's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Look at the country, look at the way the country is now. We all get extra money, our taxes are lower. We now get, for example, everyone gets free university, like no university fees, and everyone loves him. But he didn't get the country to that position of kind of, having the opportunity to be able to give out that money. So who's the great leader? The one who's just trying to win votes and actually makes the country worse off, let's just say, and puts them in debt, but everyone's happy under his tenure, or the one that went through the war, kind of survived, built the country back up, made it into a great place to live, but he made all of the people within the country, made their life harder to achieve that growth. Who's the better leader? The one who everyone loves, or the one who actually kind of helped the people as a whole? So that again is, what is the definition of great? Someone who makes your life better, or someone who sees the bigger picture for your well-being and looks after you because you can't look after yourself? So again, that's a whole other debate, the definition. But going back to what I was saying about the corporate and the corporate environment, I have this theory in my head that if in a corporate environment, the one of the managers, high up managers, comes to a group of people and asks them to do something that goes against the moral fibre of this leader, or say that person is going to cut everyone's wages and reduce their holiday and starts bullying people, say that high up manager, and then one person within that group calmly but starts protecting everyone, starts standing up for what is right, and then goes against what the company says. They start getting in trouble. I mean, they are doing it to protect everyone else. They are sacrificing themselves to get everyone else to make everyone else's lives better. So because their moral compass won't allow them to carry on the way, perfect example. Your group, your group that you work in work, there's 10 of you, and your wages are dropped, your lives are made a misery, your manager's a bully. But then your manager says, well, I'll tell you what, I can get all your wages back up, I can get all your holiday back if the 100 people below you half their wages. Now, a lot of people will be like, bah, yeah, we've got to do it. But, and then when they're pressured and pressured and pressured, people break. But that again, that protective leader will never, ever, ever say yes to that. They will say no. It's you're you're you cannot do that to people. That's wrong. So I think the leader of men, the leader of people, the protector. Now, bear in mind, I said the leader of men. This doesn't have to be a man. This most definitely could be a woman. This could be a woman who, again, doesn't. You don't need to be aggressive. You don't need to be big and alpha and all this sort of rubbish. But you could be the person that follows the path. No, I say follows the path. Creates the path that no one has walked before. And you are that person that says, no, I disagree. We shouldn't do that. It's wrong. Those people shouldn't have their money cut just because we all want an extra holiday. No, it's wrong. They need protecting, and it is my job to protect them. That, to me, is a leader. That is someone who will take the fall, who will look after people, even if these people don't know that person is doing it. I just thought of two examples. So they're film examples. Like I said before, I love a film example. So one of them was in, I think it was in Batman. Yes, the one with Christian Bale and Heath Ledger. I can't remember which one it is, but one of the Batmans. And he says, blame me for killing Two-Face, because the people need to be galvanized. Watchmen, sorry, I just thought Watchmen. Watchmen's an even better example. Dr. Manhattan is set up to be the person who set off this explosion in the city, because it galvanizes the world against Dr. Manhattan. It brings world peace. Dr. Manhattan, they're all trying to destroy, I can't remember the dude's name. They're all trying to destroy the mastermind behind it, who was seen as a hero in the beginning. What, I love the film Watchmen. Anyway, Dr. Manhattan finally in the end sees the bigger picture and says, you're right. I'm happy to take the fall to protect the world, to make the world a better place. To me, that's a leader. That's a leader. The shepherd, whether that be seen or not. I believe that behavior is paramount to leadership. Yes, you can lead an office to a degree. Yes, you can be very organized, and you can be that person who you earned the most amount of money, and you won the most amount of trophies, and you motivated everyone. But I believe looking out for every person as long as the group's small enough, being able to individually manage, not even manage, but care about everyone on an individual scale, that's a leader. That's a leader. And then when it gets bigger and you physically can't know every single person, still having the moral kind of, there's not even a thought about it. It just is in your instinct. I think this is the other thing. There are certain people who will think, if I go and protect that group, I'm going to be seen as a good leader. That's not a natural leader. That is someone who is trying to be. So I believe someone who's a natural leader will just do it. There is no thought. They will just adamantly go against anything that is unjust. It is their protective instinct. So I believe that protectiveness is something that, in a corporate environment, going back to my main point, in a corporate environment can only last so long, because as soon as you are put in a position where I watched The Big Short today. It was the one about the housing crisis in 2008, and again, betting against the people, betting against the housing market and where the whole economy is going to crash. Yeah, great, but what about the people? What about the people? What about everyone who's going to lose their homes and their jobs? And that is where your moral compass goes into overdrive, and you have to look out for those people. So I think, like I said, in a corporate environment where someone says, "Don't worry about it, no one's going to know," they're not going to find out it's us. But I know, and it's wrong. So no. Um, I think being able to stand against the waves, so stand against the current, to walk upstream when everyone else is going downstream. That's a leader. And then people will follow because you are right. And to know that you are right and that you would die for what is right, that level of dedication, kind of, and it's not even dedication because you're not trying to be dedicated, that is just who you are. That's a leader to me. And what I mean by composure, throwing it in as well, is when you've got everyone going this way and all the current is going against you and the world's falling apart and everyone's trying to, you know, just constantly give you doubt and change your mind. No. William Wallace. I'm going to run out of film references. William Wallace in Braveheart. At the end, they're torturing him. He knows, he's getting pulled apart, and they say to him, "Give up." And what does he do? No, I'm not going to give up. Like I said, I'm going to run out of film references, but Leonidas, 300. Love that film, 300. He knows that they are going to die for the greater good, so that Greece will galvanize and say, "Do you know what? Yes, that is who we are as Greeks. We are not going to bend the knee." That is what I mean. Going against the grain for the greater good. That is a leader. Now, those are extreme examples, but I still believe on a small scale, as long as there is nothing morally wrong happening, yes, the natural leader might not be in charge. And they might be third, fourth, fifth down the hierarchy. And that's fine. And the person in charge, the manager, again, might run the team, run the club, run the company, run the country, whatever it is, a certain way. But as soon as they do something that is wrong and against that moral compass of the leader, that's when people stand up and they go against it. And that is why I do not believe, my very long-winded version of why I do not believe natural leaders who are, it is ingrained in the fibre of their being, I do not believe they can function in a hierarchical environment, because when they are asked to do something that is wrong, they will not do it. They won't kick up a fuss, I mean they might, but they will just stand their ground, and then people start to follow. There's so many examples of this. I should have written a list before I started, but like I said, it's been on my mind, but there's so many examples of this. I'll leave you with that, food for thought. I just, slate me if I'm wrong, but I just don't believe, I believe good leaders can be in a corporate environment because they will buckle. Natural leaders who have the base ingredient for being great leaders, they cannot function in an environment that at any point they are asked to do something morally wrong. Anyway, just some food for thought. I'll be back soon. I've got so much stuff going on in my head, going around with leadership. So many books I'm reading, so many articles I'm reading, so many things that I'm just going to be verbalizing and just spewing out until I can put it all back together. But hopefully you find it interesting.